Alright guys, so today is the day I'm going to start on building my new garage. This will be a 40 by 60. The 40 is going to be this way, 60 is going to be that way. We're going to have two garage doors on this side. So we're a little bit under the gun with this project because we got some cold weather coming in. It's just about November. We've already had our first frost here. Today is beautiful. It's like 70 degrees, but that's not going to last. We got to get this slab put in before the freezing weather hits us too hard. And I also have to finish the stucco on my house over there. So we're getting that prepared right now. So there's two big projects that I got to get out of the way before the freezing weather. This is going to be a monolithic slab. Once the slab is poured, I can let this sit for a while and then we can build the rest of the garage later. It doesn't matter how cold it is or how much snow is on the ground. We can build that garage whenever. The first thing we're going to do is the site work here. This is pretty flat, but in that corner, I think we're raised up about 18 inches just for a little spot there. So we're going to have to dig that down. But the rest of this, I'm pretty much going to be stripping the topsoil off and the sod, the vegetation and stuff. And then we're pretty much going to be adding on to this. I'm not going to be digging most of this. I'm just going to be taking the stuff off the top. Once that stuff is off the top, I'm going to go ahead and add a 4-inch layer of crushed stone, which is going to be a crusher run, which is basically like 3/4 inch minus. So it has fines in it. We're going to compact that really good. And then we're going to go up from there with number 2 stone. So most of this is going to have a lot of number 2 stone underneath of it. And I'll get into the reasons why later. So I'm going to take that skid steer with that rock bucket on it. And I'm just going to strip all this stuff off. And I have a pile over there, which I'm going to keep adding fill to. And eventually I'm going to use that fill for something. But for right now, we're just going to strip it off, bring it over there. I got trucks coming in tomorrow with some stone, so I just got to get this prepared so that we can start laying some stone. So I got 3 loads of number 2 stone and 2 loads of crusher run. This dump truck just left with the last one right now. So I still need to finish stripping this off. It got dark on me last night, had to get more fuel and stuff, so let's get that stripped off, and might have to dig out that corner a little bit, and then we can start placing some crusher run. So I got about 3/4 of this topsoil stripped off of here, and I just sort of quickly graded it out. This last quarter here is about 18 to 24 inches high. That's what I can see just eyeballing it. But let me get the laser out and figure out for sure where each corner is going to be. And then I'm going to bring my excavator over here. There's no sense in stripping this topsoil off because I need to actually dig out a lot of it. Alright, so I was just digging this corner down to where I want to be, and I ended up digging like 30 inches down. So this whole thing about just laying stone on top of this and going with it is not going to work.
my area now. I'm happy.
All right, so I don't know what happened to this roller, but it stopped vibrating. I hooked it up and I tested the vibration and it was fine. And then I took it over and greased it and then it wouldn't vibrate at all after that. I don't know what happened, but I kind of need a roller because this is a big project to be doing with a little plate compactor. So at this point, I could spend like a day or who knows how long to fix this, and who knows how long I'd have to wait for parts. But at this point, I found a roller down the road that's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty modern one too. Like, it's not something that's chain drive. Like, it's hydrostatic drive and articulating steering and stuff. So I'm gonna go and see if I can pick that up, but I'm still waiting on the guy to get back to me. So in the meantime, I'm gonna keep working. We got rain coming for the next 2 days, so I gotta get as much done as I can right now because this is gonna be a sloppy mess. All right, so we had a lot of rain in the last few days. It was like flooding over here, and it's just nothing but muck. So over on this garage site here, you can see we have a small pond, which I kind of half expected because we disturbed our drainage up there, because normally it drains out that way, but now we have it kind of blocked off, so it's draining somewhat this way because it comes from up on that hill. So we got to get rid of this water, and I was thinking I'll just dig a little trench and get this water out of here, but now I'm thinking I'm going to do something more permanent, and I'd like to put, just like you would put on the outside of a house foundation, footing drains. I'd like to do that here around this whole building. And since I'm not required to have footing drains, I'm going to put them in there and tie them in with the gutters. I know you don't normally want to do that, but in this case, because I'm not required to have footing drains, I can do that. So that's the corner of the building right there. I'm gonna dig from somewheres right there and go all the way across and out that way. I won't put any dirt back in it at all. It'll be all stone. That way we can drive over it, but water will drain into it. And I think I'm gonna spend the rest of the day between that and putting some crusher run and some filter fabric on this driveway here. Because right now, I don't even think a dump truck can get in here. So I might as well take what crusher run I have left and just do this whole driveway and put filter fabric underneath and just get it done. That way today is pretty much wasted doing all that, but at least it will start staying dry from now on. So we won't have to deal with that in the future. Because the last thing we want is to go to pour concrete and then it rains the day before and then I gotta cancel everything because the trucks can't get in here or something. So I wanna just spend the day and get it over with. So there's my outlet, and it meets up with the outlet to that pond, and then it goes that way in a culvert pipe that goes underneath the road there. So the plan right now is kind of changed. I didn't want to put my electrical service in here, but now I'm thinking it would be foolish not to, because no matter where I put the service, it's going to be underwater basically. Whether I put it in here or whether I put it that way, either way it's going to be underwater, which is fine. But I think what I'm going to do now is just put some number 2 stone in the bottom here, like 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches on the bottom. And then I'm going to lay my 4-inch perforated pipe in there. And then probably right beside of it, or maybe just on top of it, I'm going to put the 2-inch conduit for my electrical service. I'm going to run 150 amps to this garage. And that's my meter right there. That's my garage right there. So it would be really foolish not to utilize this 120 foot, 130 foot trench, which is most of the way over to there. So at the end here, this trench needs to stay to the right to drain into the outlet to the pond, from the pond I mean, to that culvert pipe. And then to the left is where I'm going to bring my conduit. So I'll probably just poke it out of the ground right here for now and finish it from here to the service later, because I need to add another culvert pipe going across here and then cross the culvert pipe and then fill in after that. So the whole idea behind what I'm doing is I'm just taking the hoe and getting like whatever the width is, 6 inches, going all the way down here in the middle, and I'm just kissing the water because the water seeks its level on the whole entire trench right now. Anything that goes to the side can just stay there because I'm going to fill up this trench. The whole thing is going to have number 2 stone, because by code you got to have the conduit 18 inches down if it's in conduit, 24 inches down if it's direct burial. So we're more than good, because this is about 30 inches right now. So I had the roller here the other day and I just bought it, so I was just testing it out, but this wasn't ready to be rolled. We need to get this all evened out by hand. I just sort of placed the stone here and I didn't really do anything past that because we ran out of time, but now we're going to feather it out by hand, get it at the right level, and then this trench here should be about 3.5 feet by the time we're done, and then I can take the roller and just go right in the trench, roll that all out for the footing, and then we'll add stone in the middle and tamp that out. This is crazy. Welcome to New York. Go from summer to winter in one day. All right, so I know I got a lot going on here. Let me explain where we're at right now. I just did this whole driveway going into here. Put fabric down and 5 to 6 inches of stone crusher run on top of it. I still need to smooth all this out. I got a lot of work to do here, but I want to start trekking the stone into this area for the slab here. And the reason I'm using crusher run is because it's got a lot of fines in it, and I want to use number 2 stone underneath of this slab, but number 2 stone will sink down eventually because the mud will go up through the air spaces in between all the stones. So there's 2 ways you could do this. You could either put a layer of fabric down and then put the number 2 stone down, or you could just use crusher run or something with fines in it. Item 4 would work too, or anything with a lot of fines in it. So I'm just trying to put down like a 4-inch layer of crusher run, and then we'll compact it with the roller, and then we can start adding our number 2 stone. So around the 3 sides here, we're all leveled out at the level that I want the crusher run to be at. So now I can actually take the roller and go in here and just compact all this. And it doesn't need to look perfect. It's just a layer between the dirt and the number 2 stone. It doesn't need to be perfectly flat. On top of that, we're gonna put number 2 stone, and then that should be pretty flat. Because if it's not, you'll use a lot more concrete. Concrete's like $130 to $150 a yard, and number 2 stone is like $20 a yard. So this is quite a bit of a difference. So you don't want to use too much concrete where you don't need it. So anyways, on the outside, we're all ready to compact that, and then we'll put our 4 inches of number 2 stone. On the inside here, I still need to get this whole area done with the crusher run, and then compact it all, which I was thinking I'll just compact everything. So I just need to finish this up with crusher run, everything, and then I'll bring the roller in and just roll everything all at once. And then I'll start bringing my number 2 stone in, and I'll do the perimeter first, and then I'll do the middle. And there's going to be a lot of number 2 stone in here. I'm going to come up about 8 inches with the number 2 stone in the middle here, but only 4 inches on the outside. But we got to do it in layers. The number 2 stone doesn't need to be compacted that much, but the crusher run does need to be compacted. So I was just trying to think ahead here, because I want a nice clean area for trucks to come in and for us to be working in general in here. So I figured rather than just put stone down to make it dry, let's put the fabric down, because I know I'm going to want it in the future. It's a little bit more time and money now, but I know I want to do that in the future. I want everything around here to have fabric and then stone on it, everything. So that's why I brought the fabric right up to the slab right there. And now I can trek in here and just stay on the stone. That way my tracks don't collect a whole bunch of dirt and silt that I bring into here. Because that was another problem I was having. You go on and off of this stone, and then you're tracking mud everywhere on it. And I don't want a bunch of mud tracked on this new stone. So now I'll just slowly bring it in a little bit at a time, and I'll just stay on my path of dry stone. That way I don't get any muck on the tracks. several passes over here. This is looking pretty good. That thing goes pretty fast. Anyways, we made a couple passes here, and this is ready for number 2 stone here. But you can see I got that corrugated pipe right there with the sock on it. So I'll continue that around the building there later on, but that will catch the water coming off that hill right there, because that's the road up there, and then there's a couple culvert pipes that shoot over here, so they just shoot all the water from across the street, which goes uphill even more over there. So all the water is going down here. So I've been trying to leave like a foot on the sides and the ends of this fabric. That way, when I go to extend it out, I can overlap it. Because if you just bring the stone all the way out to the side, then when you go to overlap it, you got like a hump there. Otherwise, the fabric's sticking way up. But this is as far as I want to go for right now. I do need to put fabric over there, probably just a 12-foot strip going down the side and a 12-foot strip going down the side. But for right now, I don't really need to do that until the concrete trucks are ready to come here, and we're a ways from doing that. So I just need to fill in some here and that over there, and then that should be it for the crusher run. And then I'm going to start putting number 2 stone in the middle while the guys get this compacted and start setting up forms and stuff. Also, I need to put number 2 stone around this 4-inch corrugated pipe here, perforated. I've been going back and forth about whether I should overlap that with the fabric first and then put the number 2 stone in, but it'll drain a lot slower if I do that, so I should probably just put the number 2 stone in and then bring the fabric up to the side of it, so there won't be any fabric right there on top of it. That way water can drain through pretty quickly, because I probably won't have gutters on this building for a while. That's like the least of my concerns. So it might sit for a year or 2 without gutters. So having a spot right below the eave end for a while until I get those gutters would be really nice. think rollers sound like that.
What?
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 What? Rain, rain, ma, 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 ma.
All right, so we got a flat area here, mostly flat anyways. I'm not worried about it being an inch or two high or low. The footings are where they're gonna be. And then we need to raise up the middle here 8 inches. So you can see how much difference we have. It didn't look like it at first, but we're 2 feet lower than the ground over there, and we're 2 feet higher than the ground over here. So we have a 4-foot elevation change, which if you were to just look at it, you wouldn't think it would be anywhere as close to that much. And that's why we're having to bring in so much stone here. This is definitely a few $1,000s more than I thought to bring in all this stone, but we can't have a slab below the ground over here because we still have to have the grade pitched downward 6 inches on 10 feet at least going down, and as it is right now, we're barely going to have that. I can dig out a little bit over here, but I can't go crazy because then I'll have to have like a retaining wall all the way around here, and it's just a lot cheaper just to add more stone now than it is to worry about a retaining wall. Plus, I'd rather just have the slab up higher because of the water table over here anyway. So like I said, I still need to add 8 inches in the middle here from about 2 feet in on each side. But that's all the number 2 stone that I have. That's like 3 yards maybe. So it's the weekend right now. I can't get any more stone. So I'm going to try to work on other things around the site. Stuff that is not crazy important, but still needs to be done. So a few things that I need to do. There's some dirt around the sides that I dug out when I dug out that corner over there with the excavator. I never shipped that stuff out. I have another pile of dirt over there, but that can probably stay there for now because it's out of the way. Both of these sides need some stone so that the concrete truck can drive in without getting stuck. So that's something that needs to be done. But another thing that needs to be done is when I was digging this trench for the drainage and the conduit, that's all of the dirt that came out from that, and I replaced it with number 2 stone, so none of it went back in the trench. So I need to get this over to that pile over there. If you remember the last video, I made a giant pile of fill that I can use on a project next year. So I'm going to take the skid steer and just start pushing it over there. And then I need to fill this the rest of the way up so it's level. But before I do that, I need to put some caution tape in here because we have conduit, so it's required by code to put that in here. I have the detectable tape that you can use a metal detector to find, so we'll put that in there. That's why I left it just a little bit low along the edge there. That way we can put that tape in there and then put our crusher run on top of it. So I have a load of crusher run in the back of my dump truck right now, and we'll use that to fill this all in because I don't want to put any dirt back in here. And then we'll make a nice clean transition between this stone here and that dirt, and we'll just push it all out of here so that they don't blend together. So the camera shut off just before I rolled this out, but this is what it looks like when we're all done. This is at least 16 feet wide all the way to there, and then it's probably 40 feet wide at the end there to make the turn. So 16 feet wide is not totally necessary, but it's nice. And we'll just maintain that. It gets to about 14 feet here, but that trailer is going to get out of here, and then we'll just make it 16 feet all the way down. So the next thing I need to do here, again, I can't do much because I can't get any stone, and the guys aren't here, so I'm alone, so I really can't get everything done that I want to, but I can get that taken care of. I'm going to bring the excavator over, and I'm going to start shaping that area so that the slope goes away from the building when I'm done, because I know what elevation the slab is going to be at. So I want to be just below that right here, and then I want to go down from there. So I got to take a bunch of dirt out from this corner and ship it over that way. And what I want to do is make a swale over along that side so that the water goes back down that way. So there's going to be a lot of shaping around here. Everything else, the slab is going to be above it, so it doesn't really need much, but I do need to get all this stuff out of here. All this dirt needs to get out of here. I just want this nice and clear around here, and it's nice and dry right now, so it's perfect. I'm not sloshing around in mud, and we do have some rain coming up, so it's best to get it done right now. Even though it's not totally necessary to move on this project, I do want to get it done. That way when I'm ready for concrete, I'm not rushing to get this all done, so we can just check it off the list. And I already started to put up batter boards, but at this point I'm just going to pull them out. I'm going to redo all this, and then we can put them back in tomorrow. Noah, what is this thing doing in here? What?
What?
Why is your cow in here?
The cow is that way, into here. I don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do?
No. I don't know.
Hey, you. You gotta get out of here. Come on. So this area is all cut in with the excavator. I need to clean it up now with the skid steer. As I was doing this, I figured out the best solution for this drainage because we got water coming down this way. So rather than try to bring it all that way like I wanted, there's not enough elevation. There's nowhere for the water to go down there. There's no lower point to go to. So instead of figuring on the water going that way like I originally thought, now I sloped the bank so that it runs down this way, right down into here. And this was that low spot that we dug the trench from. So our drainage is about 3 feet lower than this level right here. So our water is going to come down like this and right into that 4-inch pipe there. It's not a lot of water, but it's enough to be annoying. So since I'm trying desperately to save this tree, we're going to have to put a retaining wall around there, because I had to cut it like 3 feet down there. So we'll have to put a retaining wall around this whole thing. But that's okay. That can be a later thing. It doesn't have to happen right away. Eventually, what's going to happen sometime next year, probably later next year, I'm going to dig a stream going from a 2-foot culvert pipe, and I'm going to dig a stream all the way around there, all the way around the property, all the way to the pond back there. There's going to be a stream that's pretty much going to run all the time, because the water that comes off the road is always running. And there's 2 culvert pipes up here, and what I'm going to do is have one go into the pond over there. That'll stay going into that pond, and then the other one will go that way. The reason behind that is because when they both run, when there's a really heavy rain, it goes into this pond, and then out from that pond I have a culvert pipe, and I undersized it a long time ago. I put it in a 12-inch culvert pipe. It should be more like an 18 to 24-inch pipe, but the problem is I already ran electric going to several different places and a few other things like Ethernet cables and all kinds of stuff. So I would love to upgrade that culvert pipe, but that involves all kinds of work with turning off electric services, and it's going to be a crazy thing. So rather than do that, I'm going to direct one culvert pipe going that way, and the other goes that way. That's the solution to that problem, and I can do that at my leisure instead of all at once like I would have to if I dug up the culvert pipe and had to turn off all the utilities, and that would just be a big stress point. So anyways, I got to clean this all up with the skid steer, and we'll pack it all in with the tracks, and this will be good for this year. And then all that other stuff we're talking about we'll do next year. is the next day, and look what's going on. The water's going the right way. Nothing's going this way, that's good. Everything's coming off the hill, going that way, just like I graded it to do. So while it would be a good idea to take some pipe and put it in here with a filter sock, and then put some number 2 stone on it, this is really a temporary thing for a year or two. So I just don't see the need to do that right now. So I think the simple and easy and quick solution would be to just put my fabric here like I was already going to do, put some number 2 stone for this 2 foot right here, like the low point of the ditch, and then the rest can be all crusher run. That way the water can flow with the number 2 stone, and with the fabric underneath the number 2 stone, the stone doesn't sink into the mud, and then the rest can be crusher run up to the building, because I need to be able to get a concrete truck here, so I need something. I don't want to use number 2 stone only because it's just super expensive. It's like $18 a ton. Crusher run is only 10 something a ton, so I don't want to use any more number 2 stone than I have to. But I do want to drain this the best I can, because it does drain a lot better through the number 2 stone. So I think I'll just go get a load of number 2, put it all along here. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here yet, because I don't need to get trucks here, so I don't really need to worry about that. So we'll probably just bring the fabric out to the edge of the building, and then maybe I'll just make a little bit more of a ditch there, and then I'll just leave that.
Not as muddy. Painlessly roll it out. And then I'll just run down that way and we got everything.
You good? You looking directly down from over top?
Looking straight down over top.
Dad, did you move your
So we are all formed up on the 3 sides, and we left that side open, obviously, to be able to bring a machine or truck in there. But now I'd like to close that up, so the only way to do that is to get everything done in here. So what I did is I put number 2 stone 2 inches lower than I need. So now I can top it off with number 1 stone, which is about half the size. Number 2 stone is 3/4 inch washed, so there's no fines in it. Number 1 is 3/8 stone washed with no fines in it. And it's just a lot easier to work with the number 1s. And this is the number 2s. So you can see there's a big difference. It's a lot easier to work that by hand. Get it flatter, easier. It is quite a bit more expensive though. And because it's smaller, it packs tighter, so the tons versus yards is different. With number 2 stone, you're getting pretty much a yard per ton. But when you go to like crusher run, there's a lot of fines in it, so it's not quite a yard per ton. It's more like 3/4 of a yard per ton, give or take, depending on the moisture. But that's another thing about number 2 and number 1 stone, is that they have no fines in them. So if it's really wet out, like if it just rained, the difference between the weight isn't that much. Whereas if it rained a lot, that crusher run will weigh a lot more, so you'll get a worse deal if you go after it rained, because it holds the moisture. So I'm just going to bring the skid steer in here and spread out this number 1 stone 2 inches thick. Then we can get our final grade, and then I can get the skid steer out of here, and then we can form up this last wall here. stuff is $5 a ton compared to $11 a ton, which I was paying for the crusher run. And then the number 2 stone is $17 a ton, and the number 1 stone is $19 a ton. So it's quite a difference. This is $5 a ton. Plus, supposedly, when you pack this in, the weeds don't grow through it, which is a big thing around here, because they were just growing right in the crusher run. So before I spread this out, I am going to take the roller and go over everything here, get it nice and flat, and then the guys can go and form up this side, because at that point we won't have any access with machines. So I just want to get it one more time with the roller, and then no more machines in here. So for how cheap this stuff is, I'm pretty happy with it. There's some big chunks in it, bigger than I thought, and they do take quite a bit of force to break apart, but I still think it's worth it, even if I have to take these big pieces and put them to the side. But what I think I'm going to try is to take my dozer and just track back and forth and see if the grousers on that won't break this apart, because the grousers are like 1.5 inches deep, and they might break these apart if I go back and forth enough times. So let's go try that. So the whole idea behind this whole system that I have here, I know it looks weird, but the reason is because we have a lot of loose stone here. So to put stakes in the ground, they're not going to really hold. So what I did is design this to not require any stakes at all. So this board here holds this bottom form from going in before the concrete pour, because we're going to put some crusher run in here. The crusher run holds this board from going that way, which in turn it's attached to this board right here, so it makes it so that this can't move in or out because of the stone. When the concrete is being poured, it's going to push on the bottom this way, but having the stone in here prevents that. Also, having a little stone out here also helps with that too. So you got two different things going on. But also, to get these boards, they're not set. These are not set to this string line yet. They're still loose. So you leave it loose like that. And we put this board on the flat here so that when we put stone on, it keeps weight down on this, so that if you need to pull the board this way, it doesn't pull up this way. Because right now, if we need to pull this board this way a lot, and then you screw it to this one, then it could pull up on here. But that's why we put a piece on the flat here. That way when I put some crusher on top of this, it'll have a lot of weight on it and won't allow it to pull up. So if you just had this, that probably wouldn't be enough unless you really stacked up the stone really tall here. And another reason I have this set up here the way I do is because I want the concrete trucks to be able to get as close as they can to here. And having stakes, even if I was able to put the stakes in the ground, I would have to put them like 4 feet out because they're not very effective being really close like that. So this way, the concrete trucks can get within 2 feet of the edge here. Normally when you have stakes for a tall form like this, they need to be out further. And then you need to do like a diagonal going across to hold up the top of the forms. But they'd be way out in here. And that means the concrete truck can't be within that space. So that just puts them a lot further away. So the whole idea here is that we're going to be pouring this slab in 2 sections. And since this is 40 feet wide, we're going to do 20 feet going all the way down to 60 feet. That's going to be one pour. We're going to start on that side. And so the concrete truck can only reach about 17 feet. So he's already 2 feet away. So now he can only reach 15 feet. So that's fine because we can just push the concrete over 5 feet into the middle. And actually, we're going to have plasticizers and stuff, so it'll probably flow that much. We probably won't even have to push it much or pull it, but if he was further away, it'd be even worse. But the main reason why we had to do this is because we have a lot of number 2 stone in here, and that doesn't hold the stakes that well. And I want this to be nice. I don't want it to be pushing out and the slab is all over the place and then we're not square and all kinds of. So we tested this out on the other side to make sure it would work, and I knew it would because I've done similar things in the past, but it's a little bit different than I've done in the past, but it's the same kind of concept. So now at this point everything is in place, the corners are squared, but we just need to fill in all this with the crusher run, and then we can actually do our final adjustment on the top. The bottom is set pretty much where it needs to be, but it's not really important on the bottom to be super precise. The top is where we want to be exactly 40 feet and exactly 60 feet. So as long as the bottom is reasonable within like a ½ an inch, then it's fine. And now we're going to set the top after we put this crusher run in here. So all the site work here is done. This is getting pretty close to being ready to pour. We still need to add our 6mm vapor barrier, and then we're going to put the radiant heat panels in there, which are insulated. I also still need to dig for some footings and for some pipes and put in a ejector pump. But that's all going to be in the next video. And we will also pour the slab in the next video too. But all the site work is done here. The only thing that we need to do with machines from here on out before the pour is just fill in these spots with number 2 stone. Kind of taper them up like this, just so that they hold the forms from pushing out, which they're not really going to push out, but it makes a nice straight slab because these are about 4 feet apart right now. So the slab could push it out, especially if you vibrate in that area. Probably not enough to worry about, but in any case, putting number 1 stone in there is easy to pull back out when you're done. So we will have to spend some time digging these out, but it's not really that big of a deal. There's no pressure at that point. Once the slab is poured, we can kind of do that at any time. And I'm going to reuse these 2x6s because that's what I'm going to be building the walls out of. I know there's probably a lot of people disappointed. Why didn't I build this out of steel? I'll get into the reasons on the next video. So now we can take these batter boards off of here, get these string lines out, and then we'll have a nice open area to work. So this video entailed a lot more site work than I had originally planned, but you know, it's a good thing because when we go to pour this, if we have a bunch of rain a day or two beforehand, we would have had some major troubles with concrete trucks. And that's the last thing that you want, is concrete trucks getting stuck, especially multiple concrete trucks, because then the next one can't come in. And then you got like 5 or 6 or 7 trucks lined up, and you got lots of money on the line. And if they can't get over here, you got a big problem and a big bill. So while I didn't really have the time or money to spend on this right now, I am glad that it's done, because now it doesn't matter what happens before that concrete pour, those trucks are getting in here. But anyways, that's it for this video, guys, and the next video is going to be on finishing this all up and getting it ready to pour, and then pouring it. So I will see you on that one.